From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
The Bozeman Fire Department releases their 2019 annual report. I'm Gabby Crevitt, and I'll have that story coming up.
And if you thought state parks in Montana were busier than usual this summer, you were right. Coming up, the first report showing use is actually way up. 6:29 on this Monday. Chet Lehman, Matt Elwell with you here. Brisk morning out.
It is chilly out.
Partial moon, lots of stars though. I guess that's the upside to the
It's
chilly
mostly
temperature.
moony out right now, and it'll be partly moony later on in the week.
There you go.
Maybe full moony.
Close. Yeah, we got to be good. We're
getting very close.
Yeah.
It'll be in October. Temperatures this morning, I make up terms as I go.
There's not much
all the
September
time.
left. That was a pretty good guess.
20s and 30s for the early morning, mainly clear skies. Mainly dealing with temperatures into the mid to upper 60s as you head into the afternoon. It looks like our week ahead will be clear and sunny, or at night moony. We'll talk more about your forecast coming up.
Hey, if it works for one, it should work for both.
That's what I think.
I am in agreement with that. 6:30 now, our top story this half hour. The Harrison and Sheridan schools will both be closed today due to a positive COVID-19 case in a staff member at each school. Madison County Health Department says all those who were in close contact with staff members have been notified. Department is urging people to wear masks, stay home when ill, socially distance, and keep good hand washing routine. This latest statewide report tallied 200 new COVID-19 cases, bringing Montana's cumulative total to more than 12,000. That includes 2 new deaths, one in Yellowstone County, another in Rosebud County. State reports more than 3,000 active COVID-19 cases right now, with more than 8,700 people having recovered. Number of tests over the last 24 hours has also gone up by a little more than 1,000. We now have 173 deaths connected to the virus. In Gallatin County, health officials report 17 new cases yesterday, 167 considered active. In Madison County, 2 new cases, 5 active there. In contrast, Yellowstone County added 85 new cases. They list right now more than 900 active. Also, Bozeman School Board meets tonight to decide on the metrics required for trustees to consider voting on allowing Bozeman students to transition from the blended model to more in-person learning. Last week, trustees voted 7-1 in favor of continuing the blended model, setting up target dates for different grade levels to transition back to school. Pre-K to 5th grade, looking at November 2nd as their target date. Middle school, November 23rd. High school, January 25th. Now, metrics for returning to school could include a number of variables, like the 7-day average of reported COVID-19 cases in the Gallatin Valley. School board meeting starts tonight at 5:45. Will be hosted online via Zoom. Bozeman Fire Department releasing its yearly update, and we've come to know this year has been unique in many ways. MTN's Gabby Crevitt tells us about some of the major takeaways from the report.
The Bozeman Fire Department reported on their 2019 annual report at the Bozeman City Commission meeting earlier last week. And the 2019 calls for service are at an all-time high. The numbers are in, and the Bozeman Fire Department reports yet another busy year. In 2019, Bozeman Fire reported 4,896 calls, which is up from 4,589 calls in 2018. Bozeman Fire also keeps track of the number of runs, or fire apparatus or units responding to an incident. Bozeman Fire's Chief Josh Waldo says those numbers are down from 2017, but points to adjustments in deployment plans.
We've made some changes to our deployment protocols to get those total number of runs down, and we saw some success in that. But I think as we move forward, you will continue to see that total number of runs increase just as the total number of calls will increase.
Chief Waldo highlighted some of the 2019 accomplishments, including the addition of 6 new firefighters, as well as the amount of hours spent training by each member. The 2019 annual report shows places for improvement. For example, in alarm processing, or the time it takes for the 911 center to pass along emergency information to the fire department, the goal is to hit 60 seconds 90% of the time. In 2019, the alarm processing averaged just around 101 seconds.
The dispatch center, in the last quarter of 2019, hired a new director who has come in and made some significant changes in both training, operations, day-to-day procedures, and how they handle things in dispatch. And I'll tell you that those numbers have gotten much better in 2020.
With the goal of hitting 6 minutes from alarm processing to travel time, the Bozeman Fire Department averaged 7 minutes and 29 seconds.
It will be very tough for us to continually hit 6 just based on the number of calls that we're answering now, the overlapping incidents, But that's where we continue to strive. I'll tell you that for 2020, I don't expect this number to get worse. I actually expect it to get better.
Commissioners also took the time to applaud the work of the fire department in 2020, where they've been dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the Bridger Foothills fire. Reporting in Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
6:34 now in other headlines. New numbers from Montana State Parks managers confirm what park users have been noticing this pandemic year, namely the parks have been much busier than usual. New numbers from Montana Department of Fish, Wildlife and Parks shows visitation up by 25% compared with the same January through June period last year. That doesn't even reflect the bulk of the summer traffic. Giant Springs State Park in Great Falls was the most visited park during that stretch with a 7% jump. But the units of Flathead Lake State Park were the second busiest overall with a 29% jump in traffic, more than 159,000 visits. Park Administrator Beth Shumate praised park staff and volunteers for going above and beyond to keep the parks open during what she calls a time of uncertainty. Well, you probably know this already, but everything this election season seems to appear to be controversial, including ballot drop boxes in some states. Our Joe St. George reports this morning about the efforts being made to make sure they are secure.
Ballot drop boxes like this one are more popular than ever this year, and Americans are already voting. Over the weekend, we found voters like Terrell in Detroit, Michigan, turning in their ballot. He's ready for this election to be over.
Usually I vote at my polling station.
What do you make of this way of voting?
It's okay with me. It's convenient, and you can just come right out, and you don't have to stand in line.
What's the benefit of a drop box? Well, election officials say, for one, it takes the post office out of the equation. You don't need to stamp, you don't need to worry about postmarks or processing times. But these drop boxes have faced some controversy. Republicans have been suing in some states like Pennsylvania to block their use, and the president tweeted recently, so now the Democrats are using mail drop boxes, which are a voter security disaster. Well, we spoke with one of the nation's largest makers of ballot drop boxes, Larry Olson of Laserfab, to find out what's being done to make sure these boxes are secure.
We've got boxes in, I believe now 13 states. We've done everything we can to minimize the opportunities for anybody to tamper with the boxes. We've made them secure enough so you can run into them with a truck and they won't open up.
Larry says on average these ballot drop boxes around the country weigh about 600 pounds, and they tend to be bolted to the ground to make sure someone doesn't come and steal the entire ballot box. In Detroit, Michigan, I'm Joe St. George.
Interesting. 6:37 now. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, so how many times a week do you think a surveillance camera takes your picture or records you on video? 25 times? Maybe 50? You're not even close. Coming up later, find out how much we're being watched in the world right now. But first, let's check in with our friends at CBS This Morning to see what's coming up at 7.
Good morning to you. Ahead on CBS This Morning, a bombshell New York Times report on President Trump's taxes tells a much different story than what he has shared about his finances. Why the president is calling this story fake news. Also, Anthony talks with a panel of women voters from the suburbs of a critical battleground state. Here are the most important factors driving them to vote this year. And Mariah Carey. She's got a new memoir. We've got a very candid conversation about her personal struggles in life and in love. She's been through a lot. She always believed, she says, she would overcome her past and find success. And yep, she has. We'll see you at 7 o'clock on the dot.